What's up, guys? Look who I got sitting next to me.
Yo.
Isn't this fucking cool? We got it, man. We finally got the green screens working.
Yes.
So that's exciting, and we're ready to give you more video content. And we're just improving the podcast.
The video. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just as a whole. This also means that, and I promise we're going to start streaming more. We'll be able to both be on camera on stream at the same time. So
Yes.
it'll be much more entertaining. But yeah, Tyler's back. Again, I want to say thank you for Steven helping out on the last episode. He did a great job. So
yeah, I got to give that thing a listen because I need to hear what old Graggy had to say about the game, you know? So
one thing I will say is the poll on Anchor the poll didn't work. I posted the poll and it didn't show up on Spotify. So if you're trying to, because in the episode I mentioned, this is our poll, participate in it, and then I said it correctly and it didn't work. So go ahead and just I rewrote the question for the week. So answer it there, answer the poll there. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, today, guys, we are back with Champion Review. It's Friday, baby. So we got the old Ezreal and Shen. Ezreal got a... What's the term for when it's just visual? It's not VGU, right?
No, I think it is VGU. It wasn't a full update, but it was a visual graphics. Yeah, it had to be VGU.
Then what is a full rework called?
A full rework is what Shen got. That's a gameplay update.
But isn't that what VGU is?
Oh, maybe. Or maybe just
whatever.
I don't know. Just called a visual.
Ezreal didn't change that much. Shen changed decently.
Yeah, he had a couple. Ezreal had just a couple. It was the W. Yeah, that was really the only change they did to it. So, not a whole lot to say there. Whatever they call it, dude. I don't know. They throw those terms around so willy-nilly that it's hard to remember exactly what's what. You know what I mean?
So. Right, and before that, we have a shit ton of things to go over because we asked everyone in our Discord following the last episode where we talked about what we were thankful for, the last one that Tyler was on. And first, I want to start off with on our YouTube because we were giving some shout outs to people like OGs. And so, let me zoom in a little bit. Let's zoom in, though. Oh, shit. Let's see, here we go. So Renzo wrote in and said, waiting for you guys to blow up and say that I'm one of the OGs. You'll be one of the OGs, dude. Promise.
Absolutely.
You're here. Thank you for commenting on it. Guys, this is also just a plug. I know we always talk about subbing on YouTube, but go to our YouTube and hit the subscribe button right here. This is the YouTube channel for, it's looks incredible, I know. But yeah, go ahead and hit the sub button, dude. I really appreciate that.
It would be awesome. The more the more we can get you guys, the more people we can get in, the more we'll be able to expand and make this page look better. give it a better aesthetic look, and the more we'll be able to do with our Discord as well. But right now it's just us two figuring things out as we go, and there is a somewhat limited amount of time that we have, so I would love to be able to get to a point where we can actually bring somebody on to help us with the things we don't know, so we can do the things that we're good at,
Yeah, a producer. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be super awesome, but right now it's not in the budget. So we do need you to share us with a friend if you could. That would be super awesome. Mega easy way to help us out. So yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, let's we'll go from that, and then we are gonna go on to our Discord, and we're gonna read through a bunch of the people on our Discord, answer the question of what they're thankful for.
Yes.
So why don't we start with Calientes? He said he is thankful for that one allied jungler in every 10 that successfully ganks top lane, even if it's just once.
What a guy.
One guy, yeah.
What a guy.
I think generally whenever I jungle, I'm pretty sure I gank top first. I think, or at least if I'm on red side.
Typically.
If red side, I usually start blue, and then blue side, I start at red.
Right.
That's confusing. And I don't know. I always go I just jungle vertically and just go top to bottom, no matter what side I'm, which is probably not great, but whatever. I got to platinum. Fuck you.
Whatever, fuck you.
And then he also said that rare allied Yasuo / Akali that is both competent and really cool in chat. Never seen one of those.
I've seen, I think, like one. So when he says rare, he's talking like extremely rare, like holographic Charizard, perfect card rare.
Now, does competent mean he's good or just knows what to do? Because I feel like that's a little different.
Both, a little bit of both. I think competent carries the whole thing, because if you're competent and friendly, it's worth mentioning, right? Like you could have TF Blade on your team, and he's definitely competent. Is he friendly to
I hate that dude.
a rando? Probably not. You could have Casual, who's more competent and far more friendly, and good at his champion or whatever. So I think, to answer your question, I think competent is supposed to include everything, but I don't know. I would have it all in one.
Yeah, let's go with it. Like, yeah. So it's very rare. You're right. But Calientes, thank you, brother. All right, let's move on.
Yes. I never knew how to say it, if it's sorcerer or sorcery. I always read it sorcery, but I think I'm just dyslexic or something, because it definitely says sorcerer. And they said, I am thankful for all the ADCs that put up with Yumi Sona in lane in Leona Nautilus metas. Just basically saying, thank you for dealing with enchanters while everyone's playing engage tanks.
Oh my god, just ready for Yumi to get nuked. I think of that champion.
Oh man, that champion's busted and nasty.
I hate that champion. She also added something extra down here a little bit, if you want to read that too.
Yes, excuse me. So this is also adding on to what one of you said about champion diversity. I'm thankful that League caters to players of super varied levels of mechanics, because the game doesn't necessarily award how well you can pilot your champion, but how well you can play the game through decision making and objectives. The fact that my significant other and I can both make an impact on the game, even though he plays Riven and Akali and I play Sona and Yumi, is wild.
I deadass teared up reading this. The most wholesome shit.
Right. I think it's a super true thing though, right? Like, there are low mechanic champions. Let's look at like Vex, right? Vex is not a very mechanically intensive champion. Sure, the better you are with mechanics, the better you're going to be with that champion, but like, you press Q and then you press R and you go and you blow somebody up. Like, it doesn't always take much, right? And then you look at Riven, who, if you want to be good and have a good Riven, it's going to take some skill, some mechanical skill, you know? And I think she's super right. I mean, like she said, with Yumi specifically, like probably the least mechanically intensive champion, or Sona even, and then like Riven, who's someone harder, like Camille, or I don't know, name a champion that, you know, if you have better mechanics, you're going to be much better with.
I'd say Gangplank.
Sure.
Rise.
Sure.
I guess you could argue Yasuo, but
I would say Akali. I would put the Wind Brothers in, because you could be like with the Wind Brothers and suck really badly, or you could be like a mechanical god. You can still suck, but you can be a mechanical god, and it makes those champions look way better than they are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I did like that. That was a good one.
I know, that was a great one, Sorcery. Thank you. Just going back up here, we got DXM, aka Dom, aka the person we always forget is our friend that we went to high school with.
Right.
I don't know why. He said, I am thankful for friends who invite me to play games with them. League is 100 times better with buddies. And for the ATLE podcast, of course. I see he edited it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he threw that last part in there.
Probably.
I hope he means me, because I invite him to games all the time and he just doesn't accept them. Sorry to call you out, but no, you're usually busy, but it's okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, the game is much better played with friends. It sucks balls.
Dude, I think if I wasn't playing with people that I knew, or friends at least, if I made friends with the game, you know, I think I would have quit this game a long time ago, because the community's so fucking bad. Like, it's just not... not fun or a thing to do when the community sucks like that. You know what I mean? It could totally take you out of it, take you out of the game and all that. Like,
So Dom, thank you, buddy. Thank
oh,
you.
did you guys go over the one on Spotify from Thoticus?
I think we did.
Okay, because I know we asked on episode 110. I just happened to see that in here that he had or Thoticus had left a message.
What was the one? What did it say?
It just says, "I'm thankful for how easy it is to get into a League community. I don't play League with anyone, so stuff like this show are what keeps me invested."
Okay, never mind. That's my bad. I definitely
nope. That's fine. Thoticus put it on there. I just happened to see it. So
yeah, read it. Let me see. Let me give it one more time. I'll read it. He said, "I'm thankful for how easy it is to get into League community. I don't play League with anyone, so stuff like this show are what keep me invested." I appreciate that, dude. We both do.
Yeah, seriously.
Like I said, we've said this a few times. I know a few people told us this. I think we're one of the few League podcasts that doesn't focus on pro play. And I think we're also trying to appeal. We're not like trying to like.
We're not trying to make you masters of the game.
Right. We're explaining stuff through our point of view, which hopefully I'm gonna assume that a lot of people, because the majority of the people are low elo, below diamond, they probably think the same way as us, especially when it comes to shit like Zeri. We don't know what the fuck's going on with that champion. Right. And we're never gonna know what's going on with that
we're gonna attempt to figure it out before the patch notes come out, because I know there's patch notes coming for her. We're gonna attempt to see if we can figure out what
that's gonna be a separate episode.
Right. And we may have to break that up as the second half of next week, but just as a heads up on something like that. But no, like Dean was saying, I was actually talking to somebody earlier, someone we went to high school with, that was asking just some questions on Instagram, and I was just telling him, like, we definitely have our niche. We have our little group. We just want to grow that audience, because we know that there's a bigger audience than what we have. We know there's more people out there than who listen to us about what we talk about, and we're not coming to make anybody an expert or coming even from an expert point of view. We're coming from like an everyman's point of view, if that makes sense. Like, we just want to make the game understandable to anybody who's playing it. That way, when it's understandable, it's clearly more fun to play. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you understand what's going on, at least you may not understand everything, because there's a shit ton to remember in this game, let me tell you. If you're not understanding everything, you should at least understand a good 80% to be able to play this game. Like, you might not remember every champion, because not all of them are played all the time, and you're not going to know all the interactions for how their abilities work. However, we try to break it down to a digestible amount, and we like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like an outcast in the League community, and we'll take anybody else who feels like an outcast in the League community to be part of our community. We're happy to not be the geniuses explaining the game from a genius point of view to you guys, because we're all learning together. That's I think probably the best way to put it.
All right. Yep.
So thank you for that one.
Yeah, and you want to go over AZAP.
Yep. Okay. Who is Icy Fire? Oh no, AZAP. Oh yeah, it's AZAP. Sorry, you said AZAP and I didn't see it. Yeah. AZAP said, "I'm thankful for reports actually fucking doing something for once. Every time I get on League, I'm told another shitter was penalized." I feel ya.
I will say there were some bugs, especially since the preseason patch hit, where people were getting punishment for like no reason.
I did see that. I have been seeing those on Twitter. Someone who got a 10-day chat ban, and then it said, here's what you said, and yeah.
No, but you play a game, and some motherfucker is inting, running their mouth, saying some racist shit. You get that report. Sometimes it's literally instant. Sometimes, you get off, come back the next day, and you load up. Boom.
You know what I think it is? Report. I think, too, that it doesn't kick in until they've logged in and acknowledged that they've been punished.
That's actually, I never even thought about that.
Because I have noticed sometimes I've reported someone who's done some toxic ass shit. and then I'll like kind of look. I'm like, I didn't get anything, but then I'll notice like if I go back because I'm curious because I haven't gotten anything, I've made note of that person. I'll go back and look at their like OPGG and be like, they haven't played any games.
Yeah.
So they may not have logged in, and so I don't know if that triggers when they log in or if it triggers immediately when it happens. I'm not sure. They're never gonna tell us. So
Yeah. Thank God for feedback reports.
and also I want to add to that
Go for it.
because I didn't talk about this earlier. I'm thankful for the fact that Riot recently said that they are taking a lot more consideration in pregame lobby reports as well. Whereas in the past, we know they put it in, yeah, look at this, and then they never looked at it. And they did come out a couple weeks ago say, hey, you know, if you are having problems, and this is more for high elo, but I think it's gonna trickle its way down. Just kind of saying if you're having problems, like we are going to be looking into this more as well.
So you're saying if you have problems, I feel sorry for your son?
Exactly.
You got 99. Yeah.
All
right, next. Icy Fire. He says, I'm thankful for you guys and the casters and the people that work in esports to make it entertaining. If it wasn't for that, I would not watch, especially how hard it is now with roster changes and not many teams want to make it a NA player org with 1 or 2 imports. Also, for jungle, thank junglers gank my lane when I asked the mid laners that roam down, but not for Yumi. Please remove from game. Yes, that last one, yes. Get that champion out.
All right, I guess clearly Sorcery and Icy Fire are going to have to go fisticuffs on this one for the anti-Yumi take.
No, like I said, yeah, all the other... There's so many podcasts that go into detail about, like, roster changes... And especially the subreddit too. And I've expressed this. I'm sick of seeing every post on Reddit about, oh my god, blah 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 isn't blah blah blah. And now we found out that is it Piosik? Is that how you say his name? Is coming to Liquid after Steve said they weren't going to spend money.
They weren't going to import. That was like they're not going to big import. It's like,
dude, what's
you're going to tell me you're going to sit there and act like Piosik's not a big import, dude?
What's crazy? Okay, 2 things are crazy. One, DXM like completely broke up right after winning the world title. And then for Liquid, they're not, I don't think they're, I know some of them, I guess, I don't know. It's difficult. They're a full Korean speaking team.
Right.
They're not necessarily, maybe, I don't know, everybody. Obviously, Core JJ has his green card now, so he's technically an NA resident, but like,
right.
That's pretty crazy that they're a full Korean speaking team. I don't know if that's going to make them better. I don't think so. But, I don't know.
So, while we're on that tangent, I do want to talk about... I was telling Lacey about this. I was like, dude, it's kind of wild. The team that just won Worlds, there's only one person left on that team so far, and we don't even know if he's going to play as Barrel. Everybody else has gone to another team. She's like, wow, that's really weird. Why would they do that? And at first, I was like, I don't know. But then I kind of started to think about it, and I was like, you know, that team was totally undermatched, and I think they played well over their ability level. Like, I don't know that they could reach that same ability level again. And when they all disband like that, it kind of tells me I think that they think the same thing, is like, we're probably not going to reach that same height again. So, and considering how poorly they played during the regular season, I mean, they had to make the gauntlet run to win the championship.
Yeah.
When I started putting it that way in my mind, I'm like, this makes a lot more sense than it did when I first just looked at it, had a gut reaction.
Yeah, I mean, no one, I don't think, thought they were going to win when they entered in play-ins. It's fucking insane. That makes sense, though. Right. I was kind of thinking this... you kind of changed my perspective on that. Like it makes sense.
Right.
I just don't know how. It's just, I guess it's the same thing when these like Korean or Chinese players come to North America. I feel like they won't get better because like they don't have good competition here in comparison to Korea. Like there's nothing to like put up a fight against it. I don't know. Maybe they might just shit the bed and he's just looking for a paycheck. I don't know. He won Worlds, Piosik, and Maybe he just
You
wants
get a
to
paycheck when you come to NA, dude. That's the
right.
thing. Is like you come to NA. The people say you come to NA to retire because you get a paycheck, and then your job isn't as difficult because you're not gonna fucking make it to semis and finals and worlds anyways. But
Other than that, I think that's it. So
right. I don't think we have anything else to go on there, so I guess we can get into the old
yeah.
review.
So we start with here. Let me get that back on. We will start with our old friend Ezreal.
Ezreal. I don't know anything cool that he says other than over here.
You belong in a museum.
Yeah, that's it. You belong. See, Ezreal, aka male Pokemon.
Oh man, we don't have any.
There's not a whole lot, and his old skins are. Oh god, his old model, his original model was disgusting. I think he's had 2 or 3 model updates. His very original model and artwork was just awful, fucking terrible. But here's a champion that I actually find extremely fun to play. He's a champion if you are really good at him, you should probably have really good mechanical abilities because he's all skill shot based. Excuse me. But he has a lot of versatility in items that you can build, which is pretty rare for an ADC. Usually there's like, yeah, you're going to have to build these core items, and then you can branch out from there. And when they introduce mythics, it's like, yeah, you could build any one of these 3 core items and then branch out from there. But Ezreal is one of the ones that's just always been like, yeah, no, I just build this item instead. Like, fuck you. I don't care what item you think I'm supposed to build. I'm building this.
I think if you want to find out if a mythic is OP or not,
put on Ezreal.
If Ezreal can build it and utilize it well, it's probably OP.
Right. Not even just mythic, even other items. Like, remember, he was one of the first to use Ravenous Hydra as a ranged.
Yeah.
When they first changed that. And it was like, oh, so now you don't have to build Shield Bow. You can build Triforce or Divine Sunder and Ravenous Hydra and get the Omnivamp instead, and it's broken.
But yeah, like you said, not much has changed. The only thing, aside from his like in-game model, his W, and I guess we'll just go over that, and then we can just cycle back to his current stuff and talk about that. But
yeah,
for those who didn't know, his old W was an active, says Ezreal fires a wave of energy in a line, dealing magic damage to enemy champions struck and granting all allies struck bonus attack speed for 5 seconds. It actually did a lot of AP damage. I didn't realize that. It was 7250 with an 80% AP scaling. And then the bonus attack speed scaled from 20 to 40%. I just remember you'd be able to W yourself as long as you like just E into.
Yes.
So you'd be like W and then E into the skill shot, and you could give yourself more attack speed that scale, or like it stacked on top of his passive, right? So
right. So this ability was the basis of AP Ezreal, if you remember that build back in the day. Instead of maxing Q, you maxed W, because I think it had a similar cooldown. The only difference was, and we'll get to his Q, was how the cooldown works with the Q passive, but we'll get back to that in a second. This was 100% the basis of it. This was a much slower moving projectile, I believe.
1550
versus 2000.
Is that what?
So yeah, Q's 2000. Q moves rather quickly. This is a very slow moving projectile, so it was a little bit harder to hit, but it hit like a fucking truck. At max rank, I mean 250 base damage. His Q is 120 base damage, so that gives you a bit of an idea. And then an 80% AP ratio. You would build I think Luden's Echo, and I think you went Lich Bane.
Oh yeah.
You want the Sheen for Ezreal, and this build just chunks the hell out of you. Not to mention with his other abilities that have always had some sort of AP scaling on them as well. It made it work.
If I can't, it must have been season 5 or season 6. Runeglaive, Ezreal jungle, or it was Ezreal mid. It was before
Ezreal mid with Runeglaive,
but with Smite.
Yeah,
and that item was fucking insane.
It was stupid. It was
Very
like a
insane.
better version of Luden's Echo. That's when you knew that item was busted. Like, okay, I get it. Let's give junglers Luden's Echo because that's like the most popular AP item. And then they didn't think about people using it mid. I mean, in fairness, I wouldn't have thought about that either. So, like, it's hard to make too much of a stink about it. But yeah, pretty silly.
So we'll go over to his current W, which is still called Essence Flux. So this one is active. Ezreal fires an orb in the target direction that marks the first enemy, epic monster, or structure hit for 4 seconds. His next basic attack or ability against the target detonates the mark to deal them bonus magic damage. If the mark was detonated with an ability, Ezreal restores 60 mana plus the mana of that ability. I had no idea that part existed.
I didn't know that either.
That's fucking wild.
I've always felt like it made more sense to WQ somebody, but I didn't know why it made more sense. Now I know why it makes more sense.
I was like, oh, maybe it's more damage. The Q has more damage than your auto attack.
Right.
But 60 mana plus the mana cost of that ability. I mean, how much does Q cost? 28 to 40. So you're getting back 100 mana.
About 100 mana. If you do it with an E, that's a lot more mana intensive at 90. I mean, you get a lot of mana back. It's easy to do with an E if you land the W. It's really easy to land that E on them.
Also, if for any reason you're going Essence Reaver, you're actually gonna be, your mana's just never gonna expire as long as you're. So the bonus magic damage was 80 to 300 base plus a 60% bonus AD and then a scaling 70 to 90 AP ratio. That is fucking fat. So still, if you want to go AP,
you still can.
It's very viable. Very viable.
Yes, because all of his abilities scale with both AD and AP. Bonus AD, and then just AP, obviously, which is always bonus. So, yeah, no, it's definitely a strategy you can still employ. I think the reason you don't see it so much is his passive.
Yep.
Which is Rising Spell Force. Ezreal generates a stack of Rising Spell Force for each enemy hit by his abilities, lasting for 6 seconds, refreshing on subsequent hits and stacking up to 5 times. For each stack, Ezreal gains 10% bonus attack speed up to a maximum of 50%. So I think that's why the AD still remains intact, because you just do more damage with your auto attacks at that point. And if you're getting a bonus of 50% attack speed, unless you're building on-hit Ezreal, which I don't think anybody is. I mean, that's like Nashor's Tooth and Bork and I don't know. Any on-hit items like that, you might make work out of, but
I'm kind of curious. Go on to his Q. I'm gonna look at Lawlytics and see what the highest win rate Ezreal build is right now.
It's probably still Triforce or Dustblade. His Q, Mystic Shot. This is the Ezreal bread and butter. This is the ability that defines Ezreal, in my opinion. Kind of like Zeri has the Q that is her auto attack. This was like the precursor to that. The Q is an on-hit ability that does the damage of your auto attack plus bonus damage. So the description, and I don't know if you found it, what you were looking for on the
builds. So it looks like Journey Force is like overall the best. It's picked in 50% of the games.
Iceborns came back. Duh.
Yeah, this one, I mean, it's okay. Of course, these tank items usually have a nerf for ranged champions. Like right, you can read it says melee's 12 to 85 for the damage, and then ranged is half of that.
Right.
But I mean, still, the fact that it's a Sheen item, it gives HP, it gives survivability, and sure, maybe it doesn't do as much damage, but like Ezreal's gonna be able to just pump out Q after Q. It's like it gets with cooldown reduction, your max level your Q, plus the way your Q works. Your Q is like literally up every time you cast it. So as long as you're just continually pumping that out, that's fucking good. This is a little confusing because it still says it has an emulate. Oh, this is wrong. It's wrong.
Showing it. The icon, it's not showing you the right stats because the website is updated with the Iceborne.
And it doesn't
looks
have...
like it's showing you the Frostfire.
Yeah, it doesn't have magic resist anymore anyways, but we're just looking at
Right.
whatever. Okay, yeah, so...
We know what it is.
Sunderer is actually down. See, just look at the array of items here.
Yeah, I know. There's
From
so many different ones.
Dustblade to everyone's favorite Eclipse. We got Immortal. We got Crown of the Shattered Queen. Last year when was it last year Mythics came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. The year before that.
Or no, Crown of the Shattered Queen came out last year though.
Yes.
This item was really fucking good on him.
Yeah, it was good on him and Varus as well. Um, it's it's the shield of it that makes it good, and then obviously you just dip into AP Ezreal at that point. And it makes sense, like it works, but again, I think that it's the auto attacking that is what often gets forgot about Ezreal, and that's what rolls me into his Q Mystic Shot. As I started to talk about it, I want to make sure we got the point about the passive and about that piece. And this is why I think the auto attacking gets forgotten about, which is why AP Ezreal gets often thought about. Um, Ezreal fires a bolt of energy in the target direction that deals physical damage to the first enemy hit and applies on hit and on attack effects at 100% effectiveness. If Mystic Shot successfully hits an enemy, the current cooldowns of Ezreal's abilities, including Mystic Shots, are reduced by 1.5 seconds. So I think people see that and like, oh, I can ability spam. Like, super cool, dude. And they kind of forget about the fact that auto attacks exist. Like, you should be weaving your auto attacks with the Mystic Shot if you're playing Ezreal well and really trying to kill somebody. You're not just counting on your Mystic Shot.
Right. I mean, especially early on because the
Yes.
cooldown isn't there yet.
No.
But no, Triforce is just really great for this because again, it applies not only the sheen, there's the movement speed. What's the? It's not
Stack
phage anymore.
damage.
What's the middle item? The attack speed part. It gives you the old phage where it's movement speed on hit.
Heart
Bound
Heart
axe.
something blade.
How
Yeah,
bound
Heartbound
axe?
axe. Yeah.
So you're procking movement speed, and
Yep.
then with the fully completed Training Force, you have the stacking AD
ramping
or the
damage, yeah.
So it's ramping damage.
Yep.
So obviously, the more attack speed you have, the more damage you're gonna pump out. If you're running Conqueror, that's more AD you're stacking, and you can just Q and then auto attack a lot of fucking times, and it's at 100% effectiveness on hit is just nuts too.
Seriously, it's ridiculous.
Especially if you're the old build, that's why people go man immune.
Right.
I wanted to see. I need to look up what exactly man immune's like numbers are.
I don't remember what the numbers are, but I just remember the damage you get on landing damage dealing abilities.
Let's see.
And how that really works when you look at a Q that's an ability, but also is an auto attack more or less. It behaves as an auto attack, kind of like the same way Zeri, her Q behaves as an auto attack.
So let's see.
So the blinds do affect that.
So Mera Mana, when it is upgraded, you get 2.5 maximum mana or your 2.5 bonus attack damage equal to 2.5% maximum mana. So okay, so we're looking at I can't do math. 860 is what it's fully, and then whatever his pool is. So you're looking at maybe 1500. I don't know how much mana he has on. Does he have base stats here? Oh, here we go. Let me look at his mana. So it's
1565 at level 18.
So plus another 860. So 2400, around 2400.
Yeah.
2.5% of that. That's, I'm trying to think. I always do, let's see, 24, 10% would be
extra 40 something damage.
It's and again,
Almost 50 damage, I think.
it's a
That's
lot.
good.
That's a lot. Especially
that is a lot.
this item gives 35 AD base.
Right.
And then math. OP.
Right, and plus you look at Mystic Shot, which is doing 120 base with 130% of your total AD, not bonus AD, of your total AD. Add the extra 50 to the ability, and it's adding 15 AP. So if you have anything like a Baron buff or anything like that, it's going to increase that. Yeah, you're just stacking damage on this one ability, and it's actually ridiculous.
This is like, I can't. What other champions use Mirror Mana? Jace, I guess. I'm trying to. There's not that many champions I feel like that use this item.
Xayah does. It depends how you're building. Some ADCs, but a lot of ADCs will use it. If you're building like a caster, I mean, it works really well on Lucian, who's a caster type.
I'm not gonna lie. I would rock
Also
bottom someone on my team if I saw a Lucian with Mirror Mana.
It depends on how you're building him, right? Like obviously with Lucian, I think you're probably better with Essence Reaver, but like those top lane Lucians or the mid lane Lucians, Mirror Mana was a core item to that because they're casting so much and they need to be able to stay in it because that champion just rips through mana. Varus is another one. If you're playing Poke Varus, you're going to use Mirror Mana. If you're playing Attack Speed Varus, stay away from that item.
But anyways, again, it's basic attacks on hit against champions deal 1.5% maximum mana bonus physical damage. Dealing ability damage for range is 2.7 max mana, plus 6% of your AD bonus physical damage can only be triggered on the same target I did not know that, once every 6.5 seconds. So you can't do that unique passive constantly. You have to wait. I didn't know that.
That's okay. I'll take that. Even as Ezreal, get the extra pop early, and then by the time you've run through your spells, it's back up again. So yeah, it's part of all of this is why Ezreal is so versatile in build path.
Right.
All right, we did his W. We did his Q. Oh, one thing to note: even if the ability is blocked by a spell shield like Sivir, or Nocturne, it still pops the cooldown, so you still trigger the cooldown effect. So something that is still important to note. Let's see. The ability cast from wherever the caster is at the end of the cast time. So if you Q and then E before the Q goes off, it goes for wherever you were by the time the Q goes off, and it can be buffered. Hard to buffer, but it can technically be buffered within 0.05 seconds of the cooldown ending. So you can kind of cast it before it's up.
All right. Okay. So yeah, moving on to his E, Arcane Shift. Ezreal blinks from his current location to up to 475 units towards the target location, then fires a homing bolt towards the nearest enemy that deals magic damage and reveals them for 1 second. Arcane Shift prioritizes firing at the nearest enemy marked by Essence Flux. The target does not have to be visible to be hit with this ability. Arcane Shift will cast at max range if cast beyond that. I guess one thing we didn't I don't think we mentioned about the W is it doesn't apply to minions, so you can shoot it through minion waves.
Yes.
And then knowing that this will prioritize if you want to get that little extra burst of damage, which is 80 to 280 base, plus 50% bonus AD, plus 75% AP. So again, it does a lot of damage too.
It does. It does. It also has a fat cooldown, 26 seconds to start. It's your second ability to max, so you're not going to start seeing a whole lot into this cooldown until about a level 13. That should be about the time this is max, because it's 26, 23, 20, 17, 14. But if you can land those Qs, the cooldown's pretty short, but you gotta be able to land those Qs. The other thing to note, they said it doesn't have to, target doesn't have to be visible. The second you cast it and the missile goes out is when you can see the target. So it doesn't have to hit the target yet, but as soon as the missile fires, then the target will be revealed.
Yep. Cool.
Which also, don't use it as a bush checking item or bush checking way. You just get yourself murked. So that's your escape item. It just has some benefits if you're chasing somebody down that maybe gets in a bush and you want to E up to them, then you're fine. And then I guess the other most notable ability from Ezreal is the True Shot Barrage, the ultimate. Excuse me. It's a 100 mana ability, so it's quite pricey quite taxing on the mana resource. It has a cooldown of 120 to 90, and it does take a second to cast. Rather wide item and does move rather quickly at the same speed as his Mystic Shot, but is not as instant as the Mystic Shot. I see people oftentimes trying to finish off enemies in lane by using this ability, and it's like they can just start running and get a head start, whereas with the Mystic Shot, if you just would have hit them with the Q, you probably would have got the kill much more easily. The Mystic Shot's a little bit more of a sniping style ability. But as it reads, Ezreal fires an energy projectile in the target direction, which briefly grants sight of its surroundings and deals magic damage to enemies hit. Minions and non-epic monsters take 50% reduced damage. Again, it is a magic damage ability. This is why AP Ezreal exists. It does 350 to 650 base, plus 100% bonus AD, plus 90% AP. So That's a big deal. That's why Crown of the Shattered Queen again worked really well on this champion. While it was an OP item, it's no longer that same OP item. So, um, I don't know that there's anything else to add other than like a great counter to this is Braum just blocking his fucking E and taking it off the map, or his ulti and taking it off the map.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You got anything else to add for Ezreal?
Say this, his ulti is kind of bullshit, and I feel like it's a lot wider than it actually is when you're in game. I swear to God, I get hit by this thing where I'm like definitely
Right.
not getting hit by it, and I just get sniped out, and it does a fuck ton of damage, dude.
Reminds me of that Lux ulti is like it's just wider than it looks in the model.
I think
a champion of a million skins.
Yeah, this is the important part. I know you would always say that when they updated Pulsefire Ezreal, they made it worse.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, he used to be Mega Man, and now he's just this Pulsefire thing. He like the splash art's kind of this. I think the splash art's better, but like the actual in-game model looks less Mega Man. Like I liked Pulsefire Ezreal when he looked like Blitzcrank. He was that white with the blue, and I just looked like a Mega Man character. But yeah, now I don't know. I think one of my favorites is Nottingham, just because I like it's funny to think of him as like Robin Hood.
Yeah,
and the in-game model looks really good. Arcade is a cool look. I just hate using that skin. I hate hearing that every time you press Q, and you press Q so often as playing Ezreal. Like, I just hate listening to that stupid fucking noise.
Yeah, I don't think I have one. I just
Pajama Guardian's pretty good. That was one we all were asking for because we wanted Star Guardian Ezreal. But if I had to pick one,
well, we do have Star Guardian Ezreal.
Right. Or yeah, that's right. We do. And then they came up with Pajama Guardian when they had the other ones. Porcelain's okay. Yeah, if I had to go with it, I'd be between Frosted or Nottingham. I just think the aesthetic in those is clean. I like the Frosted where it turns his hair white and he's just kind of in a dark thing. Like the model's good for Frosted. But yeah, I don't.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for the man.
So let's move on over to Shen.
Shenzi.
So Shen got a full.
He did.
Well, not really, because 3 of his abilities are pretty much the same. I think his Q was, what was his old Q? Q's the same thing.
No, his old Q was Vorpal Blade.
Oh, he threw
his old Q was totally different. Yeah,
he threw it. Okay.
What they did is they changed the passive, and they took the
W is different too.
Right. They took the W and included that onto the Q. But they gave him they kept the ulti and the E because those were like his signature abilities, and then they just made the way he plays different and better. Though I did like old Shen's support style better than new Shen's support style.
Right.
But
so yeah, let's look at his old ability. So his passive, his old passive Key Strike. Shen's basic attacks periodically deal 8 to 76 based on level, plus 10% bonus health, bonus magic damage, and restore 10, 20, 30 of his energy. Every basic attack reduces Key Strike's cooldown by 1 second, double while faint, which is old W, holds. So the static cooldown was 10 to 8 seconds based on level. So yeah, again, you're gonna see that combined with his current Q. But I think it's just a very generic bonus dealing auto attack passive, and Riot's notorious for really generic shit.
Right. He was an older champion, so you got to expect they're going to have some older thing. And one of the things you guys will notice with Riot is they go in these phases. Remember all the 3-hit passive phases? This phase was clearly like reducing cooldown using another ability, right? Ezreal was the Q. This is the W. So I find that hilarious to me, but again, that's just what Riot does sometimes. I think for this one, I know we usually do like Q for Q and W for W. I think we should probably do all of the old and then all of the new because of the way that the Spirit Blade works, I think would be
Sure.
confusing to go back and forth with.
Okay.
So we'll get down to the Q, the Vorpal Blade, which was probably one of my favorite old Shen abilities. So it was a 60 energy ability. It had a range of 475 which is pretty good for a melee champion. And the cooldown was 6 to 4 seconds based on rank. The active Shen throws a blade at the target enemy, dealing them magic damage and marking them for 5 seconds. So that would do 60 to 220 plus 60% AP damage. I don't know why he had an AP ratio. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but all right. Shen and allied champions are healed over 3 seconds upon damaging a marked enemy, with the duration refreshing with subsequent damage. So you mark them for 5 seconds. The mark doesn't get consumed, so you can keep hitting that mark and healing. The healing per second was 1 to 5 plus 0.5% of max health. The max healing you would get was 8 to 40 plus 4% max health. That's if you just kept hitting him within all that timing.
Well, if it kills, right? I thought it was if it kills.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The total the max healing you get from hitting off the while the mark is active is 3 to 15 plus 1.5% max health. If Vorpal Blade kills its target, Shen instantly benefits from a second's worth of healing. So he gets an extra second if you kill it. This is why Shen support actually worked. This and his E. But there's a core ability, and this ability was removed, but became it's a rune now in the green tree. Font of Life. When you see another champion with Font of Life, allied champions that attack it gain health back equal to a percentage of your max health. Literally is what that they're like, okay, we're gonna take this out and we're gonna put this in instead. So
and
why don't you give me the W and the E?
Yeah, W active. Shen shields himself for 3 seconds. That was a pretty short cooldown, 9 to 5.
Yeah, but it's also a shitty shield.
Yeah, 60 to 220, 60% AP.
Yeah, but you're not really building AP, so you're really just bases, right?
And then his E, Shadow Dash. Shen dashes in target location, dealing magic damage to all enemies hit, taunting them for 1.5 seconds and restoring 40 energy per target hit. Shen takes 50% reduced damage from basic attacks by taunted opponents. Damage was 50 to 190 with a 50% AP ratio, and the cooldown was 16 to 8 seconds.
It was fat. And so if you were playing Shen, you were maxing your Q because you needed the sustain, and then you would max your E because the taunt is fucking game breaking. You know, you get a 3-man taunt and you could totally change the team fight and win an objective or something similar to that. So on to probably the most notable Shen ability, Stand United. This is the ulti. He kept this ulti, although we'll see what the differences are, if there are any. I'm not sure. Fat cooldown, 3-minute cooldown at rank 1.
Gotta be one of the longest cooldowns in the game, next to like
between
Karthus
this
ult.
and Karthus. Yeah. It's a global ulti and active. Shen channels for 3 seconds, shielding the target allied champion for up to 5 seconds. Upon completing the channel, Shen blinks to the target ally's location, placing himself between them and the nearest visible enemy champion. Thing to note is Shen can be canceled if you're able to hard CC him. It will stop him from going. However, the shield does stay.
Mm-hmm.
And at max rank, the shield's pretty fat. It's 250 to 850 base with 135% AP ratio. Oftentimes people use this as a teleport, or used it as a teleport, and still use it as a teleport for a team fight, which is probably why it's so freaking notable. It's like, oh, there's a Shen on the top side. Make sure you pick a champion that can join a team fight, because there's nothing like a tank just showing up and wrecking your team fight, you know?
Well, especially back in the old days, when you could teleport freely to like minions, anything before the 14-minute thing they did.
Right.
So, and you could cancel it. Because like sometimes top laners would just like bait each other, like oh they're channeling, and then they cancel, and then
Right.
it goes on teleport or on cooldown. You have a Shen, guess what? He has another fucking teleport ready, and your enemy top laner doesn't have it, so you're ready for that 3v2 bot lane like tower dive or whatever. So it's
Right.
just teleports, global teleports are just fucking insane. And
They're really good. Really good, especially setting up like even a 4v2 if your jungler's on the way or whatever.
right, very impactful. I think it stays the same. Maybe it'll say differently when we look at his current alt. But I know you can use this on invisible champions. So Twitch is in ambush on his Q. You can start channeling, and you won't be revealed until Twitch is revealed, obviously. So
Right.
or Evelyn. Trying to think of like another anything.
Probably
Kha'Zix.
Ukshin running around the side.
It's pretty
He's next
gross.
to the wall with his W. Yeah,
Pretty
it's,
OP.
it's pretty disgusting. But all right, let's move on to his new style, because his new style is all about the Spirit Blade, and it definitely changed his gameplay. Although it kept some of the core aspects, but it changed a lot of how you do some of those things.
So let's see. Key barrier. After completing an ability's effects, Shen grants himself a shield for 50 to 101 based on level, plus 12% bonus health for 2.5 seconds, which is on a 10-second static cooldown. If the triggering ability successfully affected at least one enemy champion, key barrier's cooldown is reduced by 4 to 7.5 based on level seconds. Shen manifests a Spirit Blade that he can control with Twilight Assault and Spirit's Refuge.
Yes.
So it's kind of, it's not relying. It's obviously it has a cooldown, but it's not like one of his basic abilities. So it's a little bit better for him, I think, to use in lane.
Yes.
Obviously, and then
Much
the whole
easier.
interaction. If you're trading, your passive is going to be up quicker. You're just
Right.
gonna have more shields to fight.
Right. All right. So his new Q is called Twilight Assault. It does have a cooldown of 8 to 5 seconds. Obviously, it's an energy ability, 140 to 100 energy, and I think his energy pool is 400. So it is a little bit of a costly one, but it is a global effect, and it does have a really narrow width, and it travels really fast. It's based on seconds, so it travels at 2,000 to 5,000 units based on second. Per second, sorry. Acceleration is 2,000 units per second. So, active, Shen recalls his Spirit Blade to his location. Enemy champions hit are slowed for the next 2 seconds while moving away from Shen. So, if Shen pulls the Spirit Blade, which is always there, it's just this little unit just kind of dangling around all the time. Shen presses Q, the Spirit Blade comes to him, and he can continue to move. The Spirit Blade's going to come all the way to Shen. So you can try to move and get some champions caught in between that to hit them. Once it arrives, Shen empowers his next 3 basic attacks within 8 seconds to gain 75 bonus range and deal bonus magic damage. So the Spirit Blade doesn't actually damage anything coming through it. It does provide a slow, however, and the damage you get comes on you actually hitting the auto attacks. So you're getting 10 to 40 based on level, plus 2 to 4%, plus 1.5% per 100 AP of your target's max health. If the Spirit Blade hit at least one enemy champion during the travel, the empowerment is enhanced to deal increased bonus magic damage and additionally grant Shen 50% bonus attack speed. So, for example, if you're trading in the top lane and at one point you're behind them and you get your Spirit Blade back there from an earlier trade, and now the blade is behind them and you're in front of them and you pull the blade through them, you hit them, you get more damage, and it's just doubling the previous damage. So it was 4 to 6% plus 2% per 100 AP of the target's max health.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, just easiest combo is E forward, taunt them, and then Q to pull
Q
the Spirit
through.
Blade right through them free, get the attack speed bonus, and then the bonus on hit.
Plus the W, so you don't take any damage from it as well. Like, you can literally use all of your abilities in one quick combo. Shit ton of damage, take no damage. It's pretty gross. Empowered attacks against monsters deal 100% bonus damage, but their total damage is capped. So they cap the total damage at 120 to 200. It just makes it so he can't just fast clear the jungle, because that would be really
He'd
fucking
be
busted.
one-shotting fucking jungle camps.
He would. It'd be fucking busted, dude.
All right. My biggest gripe with this ability is it is not an auto attack reset.
It is not.
I hate that. There have been times where I hit Q, you gotta wait for that stupid ass fucking Spirit Blade to fly to him, and then you're auto attacked. I'll Q or I'll try to auto attack and then Q, and then the auto attack just looks wonky. I'm like,
right.
Fuck, I wish it would be instant.
Yeah.
Now, is the speed the auto attack speed or the Spirit Blade speed?
For the speed at the top, that's the Spirit Blade speed.
So for like the way how fast it comes to you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on to
let's
Spirit
see.
Refuge.
There is one thing I do want to mention. So the Spirit Blade will stop in place if it collides with Wind Wall or Unbreakable, and he will not get the empowered auto attacks. So that is definitely something to notice. Also, when it's called, the Spirit Blade checks for units which gameplay radius it overlaps, which before flying off, allowing it to hit enemies whose center is behind the missile origin. So if they overlap, it considers as a hit.
Okay. Moving on to his W, Spirit's Refuge. Active, Shen primes his Spirit Blade, creating an area around it. After 2 seconds, or when Shen or an allied champion enters the area, the Spirit Blade erupts a protective zone for 1 3/4 seconds, blocking all non-turret basic attacks that hit Shen or allied champions in the area. So again, taunt in, call your Spirit Blade to you with your Q, pop that W, and if you're trading in top lane, you get just under 2 seconds of like freebies, because they're going to be, especially if there's like a bruiser, like a Darius, or anybody that's going to try to hit you in the face with auto attacks, it's going to, you get a little invulnerability. So
when I'll have you do the E as well.
Okay.
And one of the things to note is a big change in this E. So
okay. So Shadow Dash, passive, dealing damage with Twilight Assault or Shadow Dash restores 30 to 50 based on level energy.
Yep.
Active, Shen dashes to the target location, dealing physical damage to enemy champions and monsters he passes through and taunting them for 1.5 seconds. Twilight Assault and Spirit Refuge can be cast during the dash. Shadow Dash will cast at max range if cast beyond that. Damage base was 60 to 160 with a 15% bonus health scaling. So curious about the scaling on it, on the speed, because its scale is 800 plus 100% of movement speed. I didn't know it scaled like that. So
I didn't know that either. So the faster he moves, the faster he dashes.
So if I'm building Dead Man's Plate, if I got Mobies on and I'm zooming and I have fucking 69 Cloud Drakes up my ass, you're going to be zooming.
Right. So the thing to note here, the difference between his old Shadow Dash and his new Shadow Dash, the old one had damage reduction.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have damage reduction because you have the Spirit's Refuge. So that's why it's important when you go through and you're going to use that you should have a Spirit Blade and Spirit's Refuge up unless you're sacrificing yourself. But that's why when I said earlier the combo uses all 3 abilities, yeah, man, you dash through, you Q and W. Then when it gets to you, you're not taking any damage from those auto attacks because you don't have that that 50% reduction that you had before.
You also got to note, you got to make sure to do the combo in the right order, because if you Q and prime your Q and then your E and then you pop W, you're gonna look like a fucking moron because your Spirit's Refuge is far behind you.
Yes.
So you always got to lead with the E.
Lead with the E. Unless your Q is hella fucking far away the cross map, then you can lead with the Q and then run up an E because they're not going to see you cast it. But chances are it's going to be on your screen.
Right.
So you should lead with the E and then QW. Or you can QW at the same time. It takes 2 seconds before the W activates. So you can take that time for it to get to you, and then that way it's activated the second it touches you, so you take no damage instead of waiting for it to come.
It's also another one of the abilities that you can use it and then flash.
Yes.
So you cast, instead of flash ability, you can ability flash. And
yes,
Again, I like abilities like that. Well, the other one that comes to mind is like VIQ. You just catch people off guard. So
Gragas
like,
belly
oh,
bump.
right, yeah, exactly. It's those abilities are really cool when they interact with Flash like that.
Right.
Alrighty, so
Um,
Stand United.
so Stand United again, you channel for 3 seconds to get the shield. Now it's increased based on 0 to 60% based on your target's missing health. So before it gave you an 850 shield base plus 135% AP. Now it's 130 to 450 with 135% AP plus 16% of your bonus health plus the target's missing health.
Up to 60%.
Right.
Let's see, targets missing health value. Okay. I've seen. Okay, finish the ability. Sorry.
Let's say, upon completing the channel, Shen and his Spirit Blade blink to the target ally's location, placed between them and the nearest enemy champion. This part I didn't know about. Shen also destroys any projectiles targeting him at the time of completion. So if there's an auto attack coming from someone in the top lane, like I don't know, if you're going against top lane Twitch or top lane Vayne, and you get out of there as it's completing and it hasn't hit you yet, that projectile goes away. So it may not kill you. It could be the difference between life or death. Like, oh, I'm going down here to drop a shield and to not die to this loser. And maybe you die when you get down there, but you've at least accomplished something on your way, if that makes any sort of sense.
I have seen Shen shields that are like Stand United shields that are so massive.
Dude.
Like if you're about like your 80s like at 10% HP and you fucking cast that shit and if you're fed, if you have like 5,000 HP, I'd be curious to like test it with like Heartsteel and just stack as much HP as you can.
Right.
But man, you just see your AD or whoever's like health bar just light up with that fucking shield. and it's like
purple
holy
fucking aura.
Shit.
Ugh, dude, you see that purple aura come around, like, oh fuck, here comes Shen. And if you're on the top side and you have no CC and there's nothing you can do, you just
watch
hear
him go by
channeling. He's like, and then you're like, all right, well, I'm fucked. After that, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about Shen. He's a pretty straightforward champion. I don't think there's a lot of mechanical intensity it takes to play him.
No, it's
this age-old question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, skin time.
Yeah, as I say, this age-old question is actually tough. It's extremely tough in my opinion because he has a lot of good ones.
Okay.
Because you could do so much with the Spirit Blade and with the sword on his back, you know.
Plus his old skins before he got the visual upgrade. His old skins kind of like how Kennen is, where Kennen's like first couple skins just look like chromas. Like you have like Swamp Kennen. What the fuck is Swamp
I don't
Kennen?
know.
But no, when they upgraded it, oh my god, dude! Like Frozen and Yellow Jacket, come on, they got Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
I know those are like my top two favorites, but like the TPA one is so good. Like he uses the fucking Thunder Sticks, dude.
Yeah, that was my. It's a tie.
And Surgeon's good too.
Yeah, Surgeon.
He's got the scalpel.
The first three are tied for my favorite Shen skins.
Same, and I have no preference with the Yellow Jacket versus Frozen, which is Sub-Zero Scorpion.
Oh man, but Warlord is hella fucking sick too.
Warlord's cool. I just don't like the flag.
I love the flag. Oh my god, I love the flag when he's walking. That's crazy. That looks so good.
I don't care about Pulsefire Shen. That one's kind of I just don't care about that line of skins though, so that doesn't really say much. Psyops is whatever. He kind of looks like Jax with a million eyes. Shockblade's cool because it's like a ninja one.
He's yoked in that skin. Holy shit.
He's I mean, realistically, he's fucking Raiden.
Yeah, right.
like he just lends himself to Mortal Kombat. So it works with all of those, you know what I mean? But man, if I really had to pick, I would probably go Surgeon. If I really had to pick. But that's because I find Yellow Jacket and Frozen like interchangeable because I'm like, yes, these are Mortal Kombat skins. So like what Mortal Kombat skin am I playing? You know what I mean? It's almost like those two could be a chroma of the same, especially when you think of original Mortal Kombat and how like Sub-Zero and Scorpion looked.
So guys, that's it.
Really, dude, I didn't know he had chromas for Surgeon Shen. What the hell? Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that, but I think we went over all of the please help us. Things at the beginning, so I don't want to bore you guys with that again.
Right.
I know this is a bit of a long one, so thanks for hanging in there, and thank you for all of your responses about the things you're thankful for in League. I know we often harp on the crap and the shitty aspects, and often forget to talk about the fun aspects, the thing that make us play this game, right? So, thank you for all of those responses and for all of you that responded. And yeah, I got nothing else to add.
I was gonna say if you're listening to this on audio, hop on over to the YouTube and watch some of this and let us know how you feel about the green screen thing. I think it
Yeah.
looks a lot better without just a webcam
Cleaner.
window, and we're
Right.
kind of just chilling here. Like, so let us know about that. You can also I'll leave the I'll make the Q&A for the week or for this episode just an open ended, like, share your thoughts,
Yeah.
give us feedback, and of course, hit the link tree, come in our Discord, talk about League and stuff, duh. Um, and we'll play some games with you guys, and yeah, just comment, like, review, share with your friends. And I think that's all I got.
Same. That's all I got too. So
We
without
will
further ado,
be back next week for the patch and Zeri changes, so get excited for that. And
yeah. So just a reminder: if we skip over the Zeri changes on the patch, don't worry, it's coming. I have to figure out how it all makes sense, and that's gonna take some time. So,
so guys, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.
all right, later, y'all.